Oh, hi there. Tonight I'm making a video because for the first time, I've actually watched the entirety of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'd seen snippets of it in YouTube videos, so obviously there was no context or anything like that. It was just, whatever was on YouTube. It's kind of funny because I was a member of mental health um, for 6.5 years, as far as taking medication goes and all that. The thing is, I've been discharged, obviously, 17 months ago. Longer ago, I was free to go, and I left. But obviously, in that movie, there were some things that they left out as far as what the kind of stuff they give you and what effects it has on your body and how long it lasts. We're not going to get into that because that's not the point I wanted to make in this video. I wanted to talk about the movie itself. Now, a lot of things happened that were quite improbable, as far as Jack Nicholson being the guy who brought it on a pound, not a pound, a pond. Um, but it was a typical Stanley Kubrick movie where it was a bit out there, but if you read through that, you can kind of understand what's going on. And you know, if I have one complaint about it, it's that the medical staff, because this is supposed to take place in 1963, um, they were savages. There's no getting around that. In my opinion, they're savages as of today. In 1963, they were fucking Tyrannosaurus Rexes. They were vicious, callous, didn't care about anything, and no emotion, no nothing. Not that they showed any of that in the movie, but they didn't, really portray them for what they were. And society was different back then, so obviously the crazies were crazy in sort of different ways, and that kind of part I understand. But through my experience through mental health, people didn't have that kind of mental illness. um, I'm sure if you go to some dark deep alley and find the real crazies, I'm sure you could see it. But the thing is, my biggest disagreement with the movie was that there was an undercoating that the medical profession could look at it from their perspective and go, no, they kind of did what they were supposed to. We've evolved from then, and we're doing things right now. Fuck you. You ain't doing things right now. And that fucking movie was a distortion of how horrible they were back in 1963. Savages. Like seriously, Stalin could go to the gulag, and had that happened in 1963 and we had all that information in 2018, nobody would care. Me having to suffer through everything I've gone through, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Just trust me, it's not pleasant. But anyway, this is today. In 1963, these people were soulless. And they took a sick, twisted desire to punish those who were just genuinely screwed up. And they have a ass backwards policy of, okay, this individual's been abused, that's why they're mentally ill. So we're just gonna continue the abuse, intensify it, and that'll make things better. No, it doesn't make you that. It makes you a medieval torturer. That's what the medical profession really is. And like there are people who are far smarter than me who operate in different, areas of where finances are and things like that, who don't like taking orders from the medical profession because they know what they're like. They know it's all about statistics, gathering information. It's not really about the well-being of the patient. And, they may come out and, bring fluffy teddy bears, maybe sing some pleasant songs and all that. But behind all that is a crustacean sack of, I would say shit, but that word isn't strong enough to describe these type of people. These people, there should be a word, and I call them bureaucrats. People work for the government, but it has to sound very offensive. It has to be more offensive than the word nigger against a black man from a Ku Klux Klan member. It has to be more offensive than that. These medical professionals, they're not human beings. They really are, the reptilian, underground, shouldn't have ever existed individuals. And I don't mean they're actually reptiles, I just mean they adopt a lot of their personality traits. And they're hideous, and they have everything wrong with them, and we have every reason not to like them. Okay, I'm a bit emotionally charged because, I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it had a profound effect on me, for different reasons than it would other people. I cried a little after the movie had ended. Um, I just went, is that your fucking solution? Do you have an IQ of 0.5 or what? You learned the mastery of being a giant asshole. That's what you learned, and that's all you know. And you think that poor individuals whom, okay, some of them are a bit fucked up in the head and will never be right just because of their circumstances for whatever reasons. I'm not going to get into that, it has nothing to do with me. But you think being a greater problem in an indiscreet fucking, oh, it's written on a bit of paper from another bureaucrat, that means I'm right. No, it doesn't mean you're right. And, um, we're we're getting into an age where people, are getting disconnected from all that, and they're starting to go, oh, it happened in 1963, it's 2018. That's like 50 years ago, man. Here, give me a minute while I smoke my legal marijuana. I trust the government hasn't, fucked around with it. Fucking half-wits. No. I actually watched that movie, and, my father, he had seen the movie. And my father, he had a way of saying things where it was like, it was almost like he didn't have to tell me much, but he convinced me not to watch that movie. Because, I was in mental health for 6.5 years, and the intelligent thing, or not intelligent thing would have been to do, was to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like, that could have swarmed the mind with all kinds of paranoid thoughts without, proper context and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's good that my dad dissuaded me from watching that movie. As a matter of fact, I had to go buy it. Well, it's yesterday now because it's 1:34 in the morning. But I just always assumed it was in the DVD pile. And it may be with one or two of my other brothers whom I'm not on speaking terms with because if you want my side of the story, it's because they're cunts. But, believe who you want to believe. Anyway, I thought I had the movie, and I went, you know what? I know they got it at Sunrise. I know they have it there. And I went there, and I bought it. And the funny thing is, like, I could have paid $7 for it or $5 for it. Didn't matter to me, but it did actually because I'd rather buy it for $5. And in order to do that, I had to buy another movie. And oh, for Christ's sakes, I can't believe I forgot. It was like no, Twister. Twister was the movie. The one with the guy who wigged out on the airplane at that waitress. What's his name? He's dead now. What other movies was he in? He was in Predator 2. Okay, I forget his name. Bill Paxton. That's it. Bill Paxton. That was his name. Uh, anyway, that has nothing to do with the story. That's just what I'm saying. Yeah, so this was the first time I'd full through watched the movie. 6.5 years in mental health, and most people will go, every psychiatric, mainstream Hollywood movie I'm gonna go watch. But I believe my dad was wise and, just subtly saying, no, it's stupid, man. Don't waste your time. Don't watch it. And, I've been relatively out of mental health for 17 months now. Psychologically, I feel fine. Physically, it's very, very taxing on me. I'd very much like to be back to work, but you can't get everything you want all the time, especially when stupid assholes run the world. And I've made this point before, but like these medications that are supposed to discourage things like alcohol abuse and things like that. They all sound good in practice. They all, make wonderful diagrams and things like that. But in reality, behind it all is a shithead who is not content with just being a shithead on his own, but he wants to fuck everybody up. And it's not just the people that basically he's experimenting on, it's everybody down the road. That's the reality. Whether you want to accept it or not is irrelevant. Don't accept it. 15, 20 years down the road, supposing, you decide you want a night where you want to get intoxicated. You get an extreme sore throat the next day. It lasts a week. Alcohol's not supposed to do that. But, if some people who are against alcohol, who are in fact assholes of their own, not to say that people who drink alcohol cannot be assholes, but there are two different types of assholes. In society, we would like to have no assholes if possible. Call me far-fetched for thinking in such a way that we could live in a society where we don't have assholes. Think about that for a moment. Because it's like it's a spectrum. The pendulum goes too far in one way, and the assholes on the wrong side are, you know, quite often getting away with it. But it swings the other way, where a different type of asshole is getting basically what they want. And, we have to find a middle ground and not allow either party of shitheads to take over. Because neither one of them represents us in reality. They represent their own bias, their own stupidity, and their own grotesqueness. Like, I as I told you, I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I saw things that people who've never been through the mental health system, not that it was even called that back then, although Nurse Ratched went, oh, mental illness, ugh. That's not what it was called back then. And, basically, you can wear a nice clean white coat, clean white shirt, clean white pants, and clean white shoes, and even had that stupid hat that she had on. And guess what? You can still be a big piece of trash. And nagging ragbag in that movie, that bitch was so underplayed. I mean, I don't agree with Jack flipping out, but and he was obviously too excitable as a character, and he needed to simmer down a little bit. I understand that point of view. I'm not totally against everything that Psychiatric Institute does, but there are a lot of things that they do that I am against. And, ain't no one of those sons bitches that is even remotely capable, no matter what they do, to change my mind, aside from doing, a Men in Black thing where they fucking point a pen at me and fucking erase my memory. Which they can do, by the way, via medicine. So, yeah, within all cities, there's hospitals, and they have the capability to do that whenever they want. And sometimes they have corrupt reasons for doing it. And sometimes they do it just because whomever's in charge is a cunt. And furthermore, cunt doesn't even begin to describe it. Like, there are so many insults I could hurl at you know, the hierarchy of the Psychiatric Institute. And you want to know something? They fucking deserve it. And they want anonymity? Fuck off. They deserve to be exposed more than anybody. Because, your average country bumpkin, city dweller, renter, blah, blah, blah. What do they get up to? Like, fuck, are you gonna fucking crack down on them because they, smoke a little bit of weed and, technically it's not illegal or not legal yet? Not that I do that because, weed is actually, I've never liked it. I just don't. Like, alcohol is so much better. It's in my genes. Anyway, all that aside, um, you know, it's just like I am sick of the sanctimonious cunts who fucking kiss ass to these people who, in actual fact, are giant assholes that want to shit on everybody. Like, you get Justin Trudeau. Yes, he's king of the mountain of the shit. But you know why? Because it's coming out of his ass. He's on the top of the fucking mountain because all the bullshit that's happened in Canada is his fault. Before it was Stephen Harper, and okay, people go, oh, Tories and liberals are different, blah, 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 blah. But, they all build on each other. And, I wouldn't even be surprised if behind doors Justin Trudeau doesn't even mind Stephen Harper. I don't trust porcelain-faced sacks of shit who will fucking do anything and say anything to get their way. That son bitch, like a light switch, changes mind, changes politics, changes attitude, just like that. He comes out all sanctimonious and all apologetic, but that can all change in the matter of probably minutes if he were allowed to. I mean, this started off as a video about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but as I said, it had a powerful effect on me. It just because I'd been through the system. It was never that severe for me. Like, obviously, I'll call them inmates, but really, there were other patients that were in the hospital sector of mental health, which, by the way, the hospital in my area does not have, so that didn't happen here. But anyway, um, it was more like just shut them up, push them out of the way. Whereas there, they were encouraging them and even baiting them into, burying themselves deeper into the system so they could be more abusive. I mean, Nagbag Rag, that bitch, um, whew, off to the gulag with her, I would say, anyway, if that was the historical context of the time. Gulag means different things to different people. Obviously in the 1930s it meant certain death. In 2018, it can just mean that you lose your job, lose your ability to get a job. And I have had nagbag rags, bureaucrats who've told me, sell your house, downgrade your quality of life. There are plenty of other people who have lower quality of life and they're living happy. Why can't you be happy with a lower quality in life? How very thoughtful of you. You're thinking everyone as a whole. But guess what? You're still a nagbag rag. And whatever you have, I promise, we'll go through the courts. We'll do it. I have no problem with that. I have no problem showing who I am as a person. And you're going to be proven wrong because you made false allegations about me. And that may cost you your career. And then guess what? Despite what One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest made me feel, I told you it made me feel sad, it made me cry a little bit. Guess what? Not even a millimeter more of tear would happen if the information had come to me the second afterwards that certain nagbag rags were deported to I don't know. Let's think of a horrible place they could be deported to. Well, I got an idea. They can work for McDonald's. All of a sudden, it's just like, I feel a little bit less sad because the people who deserved to get what they got it. And every patient who goes through mental health doesn't deserve the harsh treatment, but they all get it. But everyone who works for the psychiatric institution, one way or another, whether you're alibying them, whether you're actively pursuing the downgrade of the quality of life of that particular person, that's a wide spectrum, but hear me out. You are a piece of trash, and you deserve to be known as such a piece of trash. Fuck the government. Fuck Justin Trudeau. And fuck the psychiatric institution. I understand that something like 15% of all Canadians work in the bureaucracy. Guess what? I'm not afraid of you. And why should I be? Because I'm smarter than you, and you're a bunch of fucking cunts. I can understand you having, these unexpressible feelings towards me, going, oh, I hate Iron Drac. I can't stand him. He's everything I'm not. He's a thorn in my side. I have the antidote for you. Take a dose of your own fucking medicine and see how it feels for you. Because I think the bureaucrats and the politicians, which are basically bureaucrats, are the ones with mental illness. Anyway, I've talked for some time now, so I'll recap. Fuck bureaucrats. Good day.